Hello, sweet friends, and welcome to stellarjstudios. I'm Gina, and I am thrilled you are here with me today. Okay, so we're in December, and 2024 is about to be over, so I thought it would be a great time to hop on and show you, do a quick flip through of my just everyday journal that I've been working in, and also show you the last of my journals that I'm going to put in my Etsy shop for 2024. So these will be the last journals I'm doing this year, and I probably won't be putting anything new in my Etsy shop until, I don't know, probably February or so. So this is it. This will be your last chance to get a journal made by me in my Etsy shop. So first, let's take a look into this journal. So this is a little golden book journal that I made out of a really sad little golden book. I'm not going to do a big time long flip through because I know the journals that I want to show you, that's going to take quite a while because, full disclosure, I have a ton that I want to share with you. So this was kind of an experiment because I made this journal completely out of my 1970s ledger paper that I have used in quite a bit of journals, but I've never made the entire journal out of like those ledger papers. I just didn't know how they would hold up. And so I tried it, and I will tell you, I absolutely love it. This paper, there's something about this paper that it was different. Well, of course it's different than any paper that's made today, but it was just, it has a different feel to it, and I love it. I was able to put glue and paint and stickers and collage and more paint and writing and drawing, and it was the best paper. And I'm not done. This journal is not full. It's getting close, but the paper was magical. And so I will definitely be making more of these journals. I always like to try out my new techniques and such, especially when I'm making a new type of a journal before I actually sell them, because I want to make sure that, you know, it's actually usable. And I'm pretty hard on my journals. I'm actually very hard on my journals because I scrape and I layer and I put gobs and gobs of stuff because I'm extra. So I always add a lot of different textiles and different weights of paper and different mediums. So there's some glitter in here. There's some inks. There's paints. There's a wash with a lot of water. And so they held up really well, and I'm super excited. I love this. This page, and I don't know if you remember, I did do a flip through of this quite a while ago, but this entire back page was leftover crayon from when a little kid had this book, and they scribbled brown crayon all over the covers, and I covered them up, and it actually like covered the whole thing up. And I'm kind of sad. I can still see a little bit right there, but that was kind of the charm of this book, was that it was, I'm not kidding you, I can't believe somebody hadn't already thrown it in the trash, but like it had tape, it was ripped, the pages were all scribbled, and then the covers were scribbled with brown crayon. And I love, you know me, those are my favorite books, the ones that are the most hideous or in the worst repair or worst condition. Those are the ones I want. So I love this journal, and I have had so much fun working in it. So let me share what I have with you that's going to go in my shop. So to piggyback off of this, I have a collection of little golden book journals. Now, there was already a few of them in my Etsy shop, but I'm adding the rest of the ones that I have made. So I'll show you really quickly. Sorry, I wasn't very organized with that. So I just took my stash of really dilapidated little golden books and just put them into journals. So These were all ones where they had fallen apart. So sometimes the cover won't match what the actual original back cover was, just because these were almost like Frankenstein type journals, because I just took what I had left over. So I have a lot of covers left over, front covers, and I had a lot of back covers. And so I just put them together. I used some wallpaper, some fabric. I put a charm on every one, which is a piece of vintage little golden book cover, like on the back of certain ones, especially the older ones. You'll get a lot of pictures of characters that they were making the books of at that time. And so I cut them out and made a little charm. I used some thrifted woolen types of thread, all kinds of different, not even thread, it's more like a yarn, or some spun wool. And then these fun little, and I know you can't see because I've like bent them over on the other side of the book, but these are reward stickers. So I have a collection of, like, schools would give out awards for math or science or whatever. And so I have a collection of these, and I thought, okay, how cool to make them the little pieces on the excuse me, on the front cover, where I put my eyelet, and then I put my woolen, my fiber, and then the charm, and it just kind of ties the whole thing together. So the covers are all different, but basically the insides are the same. And so I'll just kind of show you really quickly. It's going to have some cardstock or some sort of a solid piece of more heavyweight paper at the front, my ledger paper, some book pages that I've sewn with some cardstock, some index paper, some music paper that came out of a children's music, like a piano book. And the teacher had put stickers and stuff. I am assuming every time the child did really well for practicing that week. I'm not for sure, but I left the stickers on. I put a pocket in here with just some random journaly goodness. One of my, and if you've gotten journals from me before, chances are you have this paper. This is one of my favorite little, it's not a postulette, but it's just some sort of little stationery. And I believe it's current stationery, but I have a little supply of it, and I love adding it into journals. And then, like I said, I was heavy on the ledger paper. By the way, guys, all of my papers are either thrifted or upcycled, found in an estate sale, found in a basement, found at a creative reuse store. Here's going to be a little pocket that's going to have, look, some more of those little reward stickers. And they're old, but I just put a little glue on the back of them, and they stuck just fine for me. Anyway, so all of these papers are going to be somehow recycled or upcycled. So I don't know if you've been to a thrift store lately, but in the thrift stores, there's a lot of scrapbooking paper because, well, look at the colors on that. I love it. Evidently, people think scrapbooking has fallen out of fashion. I don't. I personally still love it. And so I've been able to get a lot of old scrapbooking papers from thrift stores and estate sales, especially estate sales. Look at those colors. I love that pink with that green. So yeah, everything in this, there's nothing I went out and bought. It's all been upcycled or recycled. So even these are like little note cards. So again, I think they're actually sold at Dollar Tree, but I went to a creative reuse store and somebody had donated them, and I thought, how cute to put those in, because I've even bought these from Dollar Tree and used them in my journals before, like when I was doing my sticker journals and such. How cute to just tuck those in and somebody could do something with them. So yeah, I want to make sure you guys know that these guys are helping the environment. Plus, they're also a great way for you to get creative. So here's one of those stickers I was talking about in the music book. And I tried to make sure that every journal had Oh, look, this one has 2. Ooh, and it's about to fall off. I think it'll stay. So whoever gets this one, you might want to glue this one down. I forgot what I was saying. Something about, yeah, I don't know. I totally forgot. Now, I love this one. Not because I'm particularly a fan of Davy Crockett, but I just love like the old-timey illustration that went with this. And that's the thing with these journals, is that you're not tied to whatever the cover is. That doesn't have to be your theme. You can put anything you want in these journals, but I just love the colors and the designs. And of course, this is one of my favorite little golden books. I always love this one. I have several copies just because, I don't know, whenever I see one, I think I need to grab it. And then you can't go wrong with Raggedy Ann. Oh, I don't know if I pointed this out, but every one of these has a quilt block that has been cut down. And so it was a crazy quilt. There's some feed sack in here. And then I just sewed in the parts. So I bought like a bag of, somebody had put together or started to put together a quilt, and they just got the quilt blocks done and then abandoned the project for whatever reason. And so why not put those in a journal and have them take on a whole new life? I love them. I have a lot of those quilt blocks, so I've used them before. Love this one because this person who was making this quilt used such a different array of fabrics. So there was some polyesters and synthetic fabrics. There were some cottons. There were some old feed sacks. So it was truly a crazy quilt that they were going to make. And I don't know why they would abandon it, you know, and that kind of always makes me sad. But then I always remember, well, hey, I rescued it, so it's not abandoned anymore. It's going to take on a whole new life and hopefully make someone else happy and give a lot of inspiration. Okay, so those are my little golden book journals that I will have. The next batch of journals, all right, so this, I love these. Okay, so I went to a creative reuse store. We have a new one here in Kansas City. I think you've heard me talk about it a little bit. It's called Magpie. And they just had a market yesterday, a maker market. And so I was one of the vendors there. And it was so fun and so amazing. And to my friends that follow me on YouTube and Instagram and came to the market, hello, I was so happy to see you yesterday. And you made me smile with your visit, and I hope you enjoy your purchases that you made yesterday. But for the rest of you guys that weren't there yesterday, don't worry, because this was the exact same stuff that I had in my booth. So at this creative reuse store a couple of months ago, they had these, and it looked like somebody had started to make either table runners or napkins, but again, they abandoned them. But they had stitched, and I'll show you here. They had stitched a collection of these like rectangles, okay? And I think there were 12 to begin with. And they were just sitting there, and I was like, what could I do with those? There's got to be something that can be done with those. So I brought them home, just kind of let them sit for a while, and then I was like, turn them into journal covers, and they could be more like a little notebook type journal. So I'm calling these notebooks. Now, I love these notebooks because I used a lot of tags from clothing. I used some quilt scraps. I used some, oh gosh, I don't want to call this ugly because I love it, but let's just say it's a little gaudy. It's a little extra. And this was probably 1970s, 1980s. And then of course you got that 1990s country blue. But I love it, and I want to make it beautiful again. Just some random trims that I had laying around. Like these are tags off of clothing, and you know, a lot of people will take and throw those away. Oh, I left one of my stickers on there. A lot of people will take and throw those away. I love them. I can't bear to throw them away. Okay, so here we go. So these are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are the 7 that I have, and basically they are the same. So the inside is going to be wallpaper, and this is nice thick wallpaper with a pocket, with some journal goodies, some scrapbook paper, some stationery paper, and I was thinking more along the lines of this like being a little notebook that you put in your purse, or a little, maybe this is where you do your daily journaling. And so some of my old letterhead paper that I think I got, oh my gosh, what, 7 years ago, and I've used them a lot in my journals. Some grid paper, some notebook paper. Here's the other letterhead paper that I have, and that one, if you've gotten journals from me before, you've seen this paper before. It's got a parchment type of a feel to it, so it's really fun to journal on. Some ledger paper, tablet paper, some old school grade book paper. I know my last, I don't know, 10 or 12 years of teaching, I didn't even use a grade book, just because everything was always online. So you can find a lot of those in thrift stores. There we go. And this journal would be totally fine for doing, I would say some light journal. I don't know, you could paint, because I don't ever use precious fragile papers, because I don't want your journal to fall apart. But you could absolutely do some painting and see what happens. I know your paper is going to be a little thinner than maybe one of my sketchbooks papers. So you're just going to want to make sure that whatever you do on this side, you're okay with it showing through on this side, or you just put another piece of paper over top of it. However you want to use this journal, I think it would be a very cute little journal to put in your little bag when you go out and about, maybe have a little coffee date with yourself and just want to take your journal and do some doodling. This would be a really good choice to take with you. Okay, so they're all the same on the inside. The only thing that's different is the scrapbook paper that's on the inside and the covers. And so I know my friend Debbie, hello Debbie, I know Debbie had her eye on these, because I've actually showed these, I think, on Instagram a while ago. She had her eye on the one that had a zipper in it, and sure enough, she got that one yesterday at the market. So Debbie, I hope you are enjoying your zipper notebook. Okay, this one, so this is a one-off. I didn't make another one like it just because this was just one of those ones where I just wanted to see what I could come up with. So it's small, and again, it's got some woven fibers. It's some sort of it's probably synthetic, blended with wool, maybe. Another little golden book charm that I have here. And then this little fabric image, and then right here, and I think these were curtains, wallpaper on the inside, and corduroy right there. Another one where I was thinking this is just going to be a cute little notebook that you could put in your bag with a few pens and some colored pencils, and this could be a great little travel journal that you take with you when you're just out and about. It could also be a place where you just do a lot of writing or planning. And I kept it simple. So again, all these papers are upcycled, but I kept it pretty simple. I didn't put any, like scrapbooking papers or really bright papers in here, just because I felt like it would take away from the simplicity of this journal. And you know that simplicity is very hard for me because I'm so, let's go big and bold and bright. I did take this piece of cardstock and turn it into this fold out, and it really folds out. So this is a piece of transparency from like a teaching edition. I think it was like a reader, and this was like a transparency, overhead transparency. Put a little circle in here and then stuffed it full of little journal goodies. So there's a space right there where you could journal, and right here. And if I have in my journals where I use this wallpaper, I've been able to write on it, draw on it, paint on it, glue on it. So there would be another space right there. And then it just folds up. and tuck that in there, and you got yourself a cute little journal made out of some, whoops, upcycled denim fabric. All right, how about this? An entire cute, old looking, it's not really vintage, it's a reproduction, but old looking box with chicken wire full of journals. Does that not make you happy? Like, I think I could put this up on my shelf and it would just make me happy. Like, yeah, just looking at this. And how they fit in perfectly. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's take a look at these. All right, my friends. So I picked up a decorator's sample book for fabrics. And so it had a bunch of different fabrics, and they were like backed onto some heavy cardstock, and decorators would take this and say, okay, here's the fabric you may want for your upholstery, blah 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 blah. So I found a book of those, and I held on to them for a really long time because I just didn't know what to do. I also had a sample book of some wallpaper, and I finally decided, okay, let's put these together and put some vintage fabrics and trims, and let's see what we come up with. And this is what I came up with. All right, so these journals, again, are going to be the same on the inside. The only differences are going to be the covers. This is wallpaper on the inside, and then I put a piece of decorative scrapbook paper on the inside. And then, of course, these pages are all going to come from the papers are going to all come from the same sources. You'll just get a different page from whatever source it is. And I pulled out some of my calendar paper. I haven't used that in a while, so I pulled some of that out. This is some old stationery. This is cool. I love this. This is a 1970s cookbook, but it was illustrated, and I love the illustrations. So this is some ledger paper, again with my favorite little stationery that I have with the little bear on it. Music paper, some paper from, I believe it is not embroidery, but it might be, it's some sort of needlecraft. It's the instructions, and I was able to cut it down and use them for pages. Some maps, an envelope, and inside is tucked in with some journal ephemera, a piece of scrapbook paper on the inside, and then the opposite of the pages that were over on the other side of the signature. So there's my little bear stationery. And yeah, these are cute. These are fun. There's lots of options for you in here. And again, another little Gina Johnson way of being simple because I have trouble being simple. Okay, so again, the covers are going to be the difference, and the fabrics that I used, but basically the whole journal, the makeup, the components are going to all be the same. Now, you'll notice if you've bought journals from me before, I always put TheReBookery on the back cover. So I'm slowly changing that. I love this. I'm slowly changing that over to stellarjstudios. So I used stellarjstudios tags on these guys. I love the colors on this, the yellows and browns and greens. It's not something I normally use, but I love how it worked. And I'm switching over. So you'll see stellarjstudios on here. My Etsy shop is still called TheReBookery, and I kind of want to keep it that way because that's kind of how some people still know me, is TheReBookery. And I know when I switched on Instagram, that threw people for a loop because a lot of people were like, "Where'd she go?" And so I don't want to throw people any more than I have to. So I kept TheReBookery on Etsy. It's the same name, but everything else is stellarjstudios. So my ultimate goal is to one day get off of Etsy and have my own standalone shop called TheReBookery, and it would be you would get access through my website. That's my ultimate goal, just because I don't want to be at the mercy of Etsy forever. You know, it's no lie that prices have gone up and all that good stuff, but the fees on Etsy, I'm just going to be totally honest with you, the fees on Etsy are astronomical. When I first started selling on Etsy, I didn't think two thoughts about the fees, because I was like, hey, they're doing me a service and blah, 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 blah. The fees now have tripled since then, or quadrupled. And so it's like, yeah, I look at some Etsy shops and I'm like, how do you guys keep doing what you're doing? The good thing for me is I love this. And so I'm enjoying doing this, and I do appreciate what Etsy does for me. Etsy does do, they do me a service, but for now, Etsy is where I will stay, and we'll just keep calling it TheReBookery, but eventually my goal is to move it on. Okay, are you ready? The last of my journals. It has been years since I have done a multiple signature journal, and it's been years since I have done a hardback journal. I've not done these in forever because I don't journal like this anymore, so I just kind of stopped using these journals, and something in me, I got the itch to make one of these. So instead of making one, I made 3. So let me show you what I used. I went to a library sale and I found these old library books, and I purchased them. I pulled out the text block, and then I flipped it inside out. I don't know why I did that. I just wanted to. This became the cover that you see, and then this is what you see on the inside. I just covered it up with some new paper. Okay, so that's where these came from. The insides are, again, all thrifted, upcycled, recycled, and something I never do. So I tea dyed and coffee dyed the papers because they just seemed plain. And yeah, I just wanted to do it. So what I did was so they have 3 signatures, and I took the, I guess we're going to call these dividers, because they are like, I think you use them in a notebook or in a filing system, dividing up your sections. I use them like as the cover for the signature, and I took these guys, and I took some different papers. So some white paper, some newsprint paper, and then ledger paper, and that was it. Oh, I think I did put some cardstock in here. I think there is each signature has a cardstock paper. But I kept it all the same, like all the same color. The only one that has a little different color is this ledger paper. So this is like totally not my style, but I love it. I love trying new things. And then I put it all in a big tea dye, coffee dye bath. What happened was the index divider thing here, it started to bleed some of its color. So in the end, what I ended up with was this wonderful mixing of greens and browns and yellows. And did you hear how crunchy those pages are? Like, ha ha ha. So I feel like I could write a novel on these pages just because of the crispiness and the crunchiness. And oh, yeah, that's like good stuff right there. But you could also journal on this. You could draw on this. Again, your pages are going to be a little thinner. This isn't going to be like one of my sketchbooks because of the different types of papers that I use. And I've already made the pages very cohesive. So whatever you wanted to do in this journal, your pages are already going to be very cohesive because of the way I dyed them. Okay, so in the middle, because I had to put something interactive, I just couldn't leave it alone. So I took two big vintage envelopes and I put them in the very center of the book. So now you got a little pocket here where you could tuck in some ephemera if you had it, or receipts or tickets or whatever you want to stick in your little journal. You could absolutely put them right there. And yeah, there you go. So, and 3 signatures. And then I bound it with some linen. I think the other one has some wallpaper on it. And then the back. So I put some paper, some decorative paper on it. And then I took some oil pastels and chalk pastels and just did some drawing on this. So, and then did some stitching. I love these. I think they are amazing, and I'm excited for whoever gets them to see what you do in them. So that's one. Here's another one. This is more like grays and blues. Here is, and I used my textured wallpaper on the spine here. My oil pastels and my chalk pastels. By the way, these are all varnished. So I put a nice thin coat of a gloss varnish. So they are like, this is not going to run. And then on the inside, a different map, and then the same setup. And somebody asked me at the market yesterday, do the pages smell? And I was like, well, I don't know, let's smell them. And so I smelled them, and they only smell if you get up next to them and you smell them. Like, they don't give off a big coffee or tea scent. So if you're a person who does not like coffee or tea smelling things, I don't think you'd be put off by these, because they don't, excuse me, I got the hiccups, they don't give off a huge odor. And so here is the last one. And I love how the green mixed in with the brown. Yeah, this, and all the different little imperfections. A lot of it depended on where I laid the paper to dry. And yeah, it's like such a fun experiment. When I was making these, I was like, man, because I really want to do some in-person classes, and I thought this would be, oh, Lord, left my sticker on again. This would be one of those classes where I could do an entire weekend. Like, this could be a weekend retreat class where we do everything in this, from taking the book apart to reconstructing the book, to making the covers, to dyeing the pages, to then spending the last day filling it with all kinds of goodness. Like, oh, that would be my dream, is to have a space where I could make a retreat sort of studio type thing and run classes and retreats, and we could all get together and see everybody's beautiful faces and share all of our different creative ideas. And yeah, that's my dream. I will put these in my Etsy shop and open up my Etsy shop with all of them Thursday morning, the 10th, 11th, 12th, Thursday the 12th. And I'm going to put them in at 7 a.m. Central Time. And I know that's a Thursday, and I know some of you guys will not be able to do that right at that time. That's okay, because, hey, here's the thing. There's plenty of journals to go around, plenty of journals. And I'm not going anywhere, so I'll be making more in a few months. So yeah, it's all good. I hope you are healthy. I hope you are happy. I hope you do something creative today. Have a great rest of the day. I'll see you soon. Bye.